Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Tuesdays at 2 and Islander Sewing Systems. I'm Janet Prey, your host, and we're going to talk about sewing, of course, but mostly today I want to talk about shirts and our new 2025 shirt challenge. And if you've been with us a while, you may have participated in one of our shirt challenges, or you may have thought about it and it just didn't work out. So maybe this will be your chance to challenge yourself. And we do get emails from people, and you may have seen them in the newsletter, that say they are so glad they took the challenge. It was outside their comfort zone. And if they hadn't got that little push, they wouldn't have done it. But now they have a new skill. And now they feel more empowered to work with their patterns and to make simple changes to get a new design. So, yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And I want to talk about it. We put a little bit about the challenge in our newsletter, but we're going to give you more details today. Um, but again, the challenge is going to help you get outside your comfort zone, be a little bit braver, and then you'll be so confident afterwards. It's really fun. So, um, one of the things that many sewers do, and I'm not saying anybody out there does or doesn't, but many sewers will. They purchase the pattern, their fabrics and things, and they do one or two things. They either make a muslin to find all the things they need to correct, or they know that they have a rounded back, so they just automatically do that adjustment to the pattern before they cut it out. And then the chances of it being the best fit ever are very slim. And or they just make up the pattern out of the fashion fabric and try to fit it afterwards. And a lot of times you can't do that. The different fitting issues, you can't add fabric in a certain place where you might need it. So, the best sewing order is fit, cut, sew. Not cut, sew, fit. Not cut, fit, sew. It's fit, cut, sew. So, many of you I know have done your sloper. And maybe you've done a knit sloper, maybe you've done a woven sloper. I'm not sure, but today we're going to be talking about a woven. And so what we have at Islander Sewing Systems for the new people is we do have a set of sloper patterns that were created by Connie Crawford. And Connie was a teacher at FITM in Southern California and also a professional pattern drafter in the ready to wear industry. So she had a lot of good skills to impart, and we have her slopers for sale. So we suggest that you make a sloper for your anything. So let's say that we're going to go with the woven. We want to make a woven sloper and we want it to fit us. And the directions are clear in a lot of our videos and things that you're going to find on YouTube. But basically, you cut out the pieces. Let's say this is your sloper. This is one of our slopers. And I can hold it up or lay it down, whatever you say, Brenda. So this is the shoulder princess seam sloper, which means this princess seam comes right across the shoulder and over the apex. And that's crucial that it be there. Chances of buying a pattern that has a princess seam and sewing it up and having that seam be in exactly the right place for your bust line is probably a 30-70 chance and not in your favor. So that's another good reason to have a sloper. So once you've had that sloper and have it all fitted, so there's no gapping, the neckline lays flat, the side seams are in the right place, contours to your body correctly, and no matter what size you are, from a 0 to a 4X, you want the shape of your body to be contoured. So it's just always going to be a more pleasing look. So once you have that sloper, then you can go about creating any design that you like. And we're going to talk about one of the simple changes that we can make to create that design. But basically, think of the sloper as the base for everything. This is the way designers, let's say designers in ready to wear, do it. When they want to design, and this season they've got to do a long sleeve blouse and a short sleeve camp shirt and skirt and a pant, whatever. They go over to their rack, and on their rack is going to be their blocks. They make their blocks in that tag board, and you've seen me show those before, and I'll show them again in the next video. But it's a heavy board, and when you create your block on that, it's better than paper because it stays in that condition because it's a heavy cardboard. And then you just trace around it. You don't cut around it, you trace around it, and then it stays in perfect condition for life. So once you've done your woven top, your knit top, and your pant or skirt, you've got all those slopers done. Yes, it's going to take time, but guess what? It's going to save more than that much time over every project that you sew. If you think about all the time you put into trying to do a pattern alteration, let's say go back to that rounded back. Okay, I'm going to put that rounded back alteration, and then I'm just going to cut it out of the fashion fabric. And then I find out when I put it on, well, their proportions are different than mine, and my waist is down to here. Now, what am I going to do? I got to recut the whole thing. Or maybe their ease was much greater than I like to wear. Maybe it's got a 6-inch ease, and now, even though the back's hanging right, the whole thing's too big. Got to start over again. So having this sloper is going to solve all of those issues. So each time you want to make a new garment, you get out that same sloper, you know it's going to fit. So now you want to have a stand-up collar instead of a two-piece collar. Now you want to have a short sleeve instead of a long sleeve. Those are really simple changes, but you're not messing with the base of the garment that is the whole it's the whole structure that hangs from your body and looks nice. Then you can do any design changes you want. So you'll save the time by creating these slopers in advance, even if you're using commercial patterns. Let's say that you see this great designer in the Vogue catalog and you want to make that Donna Karan. You could take your sloper out, your sloper pieces, and you can set them on top of her pattern and see, where do I have to make those changes? Is her arm side bigger? Do I need to, I need to take some of the ease out or put some ease in? You'll know it just by superimposing your front over her front. Is it going to fit? And sometimes you're going to look at it and go, yeah, that's going to fit perfect. All I have to do is shorten up the waistline, and I know this is going to fit. And how much fun is it? And those of you who have done this, how much fun is it to sew up a garment knowing the whole time it's going to fit? That is sheer bliss when it comes to sewing. So that's what a sloper can do for you. So I invite you to get involved in the sloper uh, brigade, the sloper, what do I want to call it? Movement. That's what we're trying to create, is a sloper movement. And you'll buy far fewer patterns. You'll spend less time making and fitting the garment. And every time you go to sew, all you have to do is go over to your block, pull it out, and either start with the commercial pattern and make the changes you need, or make the changes to the sloper and create a whole new pattern. And I'm going to show you how to do that as we go through this shirt challenge. I'm going to show you one of those changes today. Let's see. Okay, I think I went through all of what we wanted to talk about as far as this is the way all designers do it. They don't start fresh every single time they can make a design. They know how they want their garments to hang and fit. Let's take Eileen Fisher. Eileen Fisher is a very uh, clean lines, very simple, and very roomy. So she has quite a bit of ease in hers. Her things are not fitted generally. So taking a look at what she does, she's always going to have that same block. So that if I buy an Eileen Fisher sweater today and I buy one next winter, I know the fit's going to be good for me. If the first one was, the second one will be. So that's the way we can do it too. So if you don't have your you don't have your sloper made, before you do the challenge, do yourself a favor and make the sloper. If you have made one of our shirt patterns and made the adjustments to it and it fits you well and hangs well, that's your sloper. And hang on to that. Make a permanent edition of it so that you can use it as a sloper to make the changes that you want going forward. But the one good thing about shirts, a shirt is classic. It's always going to be the same concept. All you have to do is change simple details. Add pockets, take pockets away, make the pocket bigger. One pocket, two pockets, four pockets. It's all about really simple changes and you get an entirely different look. So let's look up here on some that I pulled out that you may be something that you want to make. So this is a shirt waist dress. These were extremely popular in the 50s and the 60s. If you remember the Donna Reed show, she always wore a shirt waist dress. I think she even wore pearls to do the housework. And I think Leave It to Beaver, his mom often wore a shirt waist. Sometimes she wore a straighter one. But this is basically a shirt waist dress. What that means is it's a shirt to the waist. Then it's a skirt, full skirt. That's what makes it a shirt waist dress. These are examples of a shirt dress. So in this one, of course, in this one, you would just take your basic shirt, find your waistline, add the seam allowance, and then add a full skirt to it. It's that simple. And of course, you know where the waistline is because you have created a sloper and marked that on there. So this would be a shirt pattern that you would just continue down the width of your hips. So you make sure it goes nice and smooth over the hips, but it stays pretty straight and you actually can create that shirt tail at the end. So probably we just cut this here to spread it down to make it longer. Here's a drop waist. So they've used their shirt all the way to here, and then they've angled both toward the side going down. Same thing. You make the shirt to here, and then you add a skirt, that gathered skirt on it. This one, really simple. This is just the shirt lengthened and the hem straightened, and that's it. And you got an entire, so from one pattern, theoretically, you could have all four of these designs, and they all look different. And then this is really a fun one. It's just a big shirt, and I'm not even sure you can see it. I was worried. I couldn't find one in another color, but these are always popular. You can wear it over jeans, you can wear them over leggings. You can use it as a beach cover up. You can use it as an evening outfit. It depends on the fabric you make it out of. Make it out of gauze and you can wear it as a beach cover up. Make it out of silk and wear it with some leggings and some heels and you got an evening outfit. So that's kind of fun too. And this one's just about adding more ease, making it bigger and flowier. All right. So, um, before we go into our demo, let's see if anyone has. I asked people to bring their sewing questions today, and I have one that while you're looking, Brenda, I'll go over this one. Victoria Burton asked today, what are the rules when it comes to the color of buttons on men's shirts, dressy or casual? Okay, well, first of all, there are no rules. But if you want to go by standard, what men are used to, and I find that sewing for men, many men don't want to go very far outside their box. So I look at Brooks Brothers, I go to Nordstrom's and I go through their designer shirts and I look at what are the designers doing right now and what colors and sizes of buttons. Basically, buttons in the industry are measured by lines. So we use an 18 or a 20, which is The 18 is slightly smaller than a half inch. The 20 is slightly bigger than a half inch. But generally, that's the size shirt button. And what I've had a lot of times is when I'm teaching a shirt class, and here comes somebody and they've got a 5/8 inch button or a 3/4 inch button. And I say, that's not standard in menswear. Oh, I know, but my husband has big fingers. Okay, I never say much to that person, but your husband's always had big fingers, and all the shirts in his closet are half-inch buttons. That's what he's used to. That's a look he's used to. So maybe you don't want to vary that far outside. So don't get into that trap. Don't get into the trap when you're doing a man's shirt that the buttons need to be a star. The buttons are never the star of a man's shirt. Women, that's different. We go and we try to find all these really cool uh, buttons and special, just really special buttons. We love those. I have a closet full I've never used because I just love the buttons and I keep buying them. So, anyway, um, as far as the color, you can go with the color of the fabric. You can go with they use a lot of shells and we sell them. We sell a dark gray and a light gray and a white shell. And the reason they use the shell is like got an iridescence to it. So when you put it on, it kind of merges with all the rest of the fabric, with all the colors and things. So the buttons aren't meant to be even thought about. They're just there. So if you don't find a color that matches perfectly, then that more clear or more white are best. There's even an excellent one that's around the corner. I'll grab it if I can. It's the button box. It's really clever how they do this with the buttons for shirts, and they do it with obviously making women's shirts too. So what you're going to see the most often is a creamy or an off-white because that goes with everything. And then you'll see some that are kind of mixed, so almost tortoiseshell kind. Yeah, all I needed was the six. All right, so this is the one that is used the most often. Okay, I'm going to show you the back and the front. So the back has all those little, you can't see it? No. Sorry. How's that? Sort of. Okay, so there's a texture on the top, but you see this little colored spots on the back? I think that they are just there to bring in all the color spectrum so that this will look good on pink, it'll look good on gray, it'll look good on red, whatever you want to put it on. But this is what they use the most often. And I'll show you the shell. I'm not sure see the shell any better, but you see. No, wrong. Here they are. So you can see these are kind of shiny, but they have a iridescence to them. So they're going to pick up dark and light, all the different grades of a color. And so those are used an awful lot. And this would be more for a dressy. I use a less shiny, more matte button for casual, and the shiny is more for dressy. But again, I think it's Victoria. That's not a rule. That's just a sensibility that I like. You might like something different. And as the person who sews, you should do what you want. But if you're looking to stay with what is current and ready to wear and classic, then go to your best store in down where you can look at good quality shirts and see what they're doing. There's no reason why you can't create a shirt that would command $250, $300 at that store just by looking at their the way they do it and creating the same type of top stitching. One of the things you'll always see is top stitching in men's shirts. Almost every seam is stitched down, or it should be. And so you see a lot of stitching, and you might see 2 rows of stitching, 1 row of stitching, sometimes 3 rows of stitching. Um, so you can kind of play around with what looks best to you, or take a look again at your favorite designer and do a little knockoff of your own. Okay, was there any questions? No questions, ladies. Okay. All right. Then I want to do this little demo for you today. Where are my details? Let's see. I'm just looking for the person's name. Alan. It was Alan. Oh, Aaron Allen. Aaron Allen jumped right on it and sent this picture. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, in the newsletter, I asked people to send in what they'd like to copy out of Ready to Wear. And Aaron really likes this. Now, I will tell you that this is open to here. There's no placket, and it has 2 princess seams, and it opens up right about here to create more of a godet, more of a fullness. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to show you how to do that. Okay. Anyway, so right here, if you have, this is our shoulder princess seam sloper. So if your sloper is shoulder seam sloper, you're almost there. But if you'll notice, this has a demi, this is called a demi princess seam right here, that's at the side of the bust line. You'll have to add that. So to add that, you will take your pattern and dissect it. So you're going to start pretty much not the center of the front of the arm side, but above that notch. We know that notch is usually right about here. So about here, and curve it out and then straight down. Now, what I want is the width of this side to be similar to the width of this side. So I'm going to measure this, divide it in half, and there's my center. And then I'm going to make this cut line go right down to that. And then I'll cut this apart and add seam allowance to each side. So here's a little example. And we would just now what I have to do, well, before I cut it apart, I want to transfer my straight grain. So draw a line in that section that is perfectly parallel to the straight grain line. Okay. Then you can cut it apart and add seam allowance to the part you cut. So the part you cut needs seam allowance. So I'm going to have a seam allowance around here and a seam allowance around here. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do that little flare, but just on a single princess line, because the second one will be the same. And you do want to keep them, Aaron, you do want to keep them equal. So if this is an inch, then this one you want to be an inch. You don't want to have one different than the other. It will cause it to hang differently. So I've taken my pattern pieces here. Turn this around. How is that, Brenda? Okay. So first thing I do is I extend my grain lines from one end of the pattern to the other. So all I did was get right on that line that was there and extend it to the opposite end. Then I draw a straight grain line on my pattern paper. And this is the paper I'm going to use to make the new pattern piece. So we would draw around this pattern piece just as it is until you get to the part you want to change. So on your sloper, you should have your waistline marked and your bust line marked so that you can always identify that, especially if you're going to use a commercial pattern and you're going to set that on there. You might find that, the distance from the bust to the waist is quite a bit different than yours, and you'll want to shorten that up or the reverse depending on your body type. So always mark the waist and the bust. So I know that it comes over the bust, and it looks to me like it's below the waistline because I think her waistline is here. And this is starting to open up right down here. So I'm going to guess that at a 2.5 inches to 3 inches below the waistline. And some of this is going to be a little guesswork, but you are definitely going to make a muslin to check it out. Okay. So we're going to come past the waist, and then we want to kick this out. So I marked what I think would be a reasonable distance to kick it out, and slightly below the waist I drew that out. Now this will not need additional seam allowance because we've already working with the seam allowance here. So this is going to come out. So keep that in mind. The seam allowance will have to be figured in. You may go a little further out. Then you'll do the same thing with the back. Now you see why I make my straight of the grain lines longer is because I draw a straight line on my paper. And now when I set this on there, I know it's perfect. And then you can use weights or repositionable tape. And now I know that's straight and that my straight of grain line will be on my pattern too. So then I can just draw around this. I can kick this out the distance that I think I want. And the same thing, it's going to be below the waist. I'll find the exact distance below the waist on this piece because these two get sewn together. This is the center front. This is the side front. This is our princess seam. Okay. So then, and we'll say it goes out like that. And it starts below the waist. So there it is. Now, knowing this is going to sew to this, if I made this 1 inch and I made this 1 inch, and I'm going to say 1 inch finished, so that would be probably 1 3/8 because I have 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going to have 1 inch finished, 1 inch finished. When I sew those together, I'm going to have 2 inches. Do I want 2 inches here? I don't know. And it would definitely make a difference in what type of fabric. If you're using a soft lawn, um, it'll be a lot drapier. But if you don't use a real stiff cotton for this, because then this won't hang as nice. You want something that has a little bit of limpness, a little drape to it. So now you would do the same thing with that second piece that we cut out, which was the miniature piece, but it's the same thing. You're gonna flare it out where it's going to be sewn to the other piece. So we split this one in half. So this would be that. And then we would flare this side out too, and this side. And again, remember, the distance is up to you. You may want to quickly make up even one side of your shirt. Just one side so you can see how that flows, that open godet or whatever you want to call it. And then you'll decide. Now, this does not have a placket down the front. So you're going to eliminate the placket and create a facing. And this will be face, but it does have the two-piece collar. But this is going to be face. So that is in, I'm going to tell which video is that in? That is in the camp shirt. It's in the camp shirt video where I know I did something recently. Let me think. We did it to show you how to convert it. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can even have a set in on facing or a sew on facing. But that'll be a facing, not a placket. And then this is the basic sleeve, basic cuff. This does have a either a front yoke or a very forward shoulder seam. It looks more like it's a front yoke to me. And then again, if you don't, that isn't going to make a huge difference. If you don't want to exactly copy this one, Erin, you just want to get the idea, then you could just use your regular front without a yoke, but your back will have the yoke. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's any questions. I thoroughly.
Not a shirt question.
Okay. Yes, and I'm going to give you the rules of the challenge very soon too. And remember, this challenge is men's or women's. So keep that in mind too. We'd love to see both.
Pants question.
Okay, we have a pant question.
Pam Clark.
Hi, Pam.
I know the legs must be balanced. When making my pattern from my measurements, I found that the side seam from the hips to almost the knee were too large. It looked like jodhpurs or a Royal Canadian Mountie pant. I took out a quarter in each size and it fits, but is it balanced or is it necessary to balance it there?
Well, I'm not sure when she says balance, so um I'm trying to draw pants upside down. Yeah, okay. All right, so she's saying, this is the crotch here. She's saying that from the knee, it was the knee where it got wide.
Yes.
All right. And she take it out all the way down. She didn't say, but she would have had to.
I found that the side seam from the hips to almost the knee.
Hips. Oh,
Both
hips.
sides from the
Oh,
center
hips
of
to
the
the
leg.
knee.
She said.
Okay. So if you had to take that out from the hip to the knee, then you got to keep that grade going. I mean, in other words, you can't take it out here and then go back over here, right? So if you're going to take 3/8 out here, you almost have to continue all the way to the bottom. And is that what you did, Pam? So what you were saying is that right in the thigh area, they were too wide for you. And you had to narrow that thigh down. But it would, see, I'm trying to think if she,
Both sides from the center of the leg.
yeah, both sides. So she did the inside of the leg and the outside. Okay.
I'm waiting.
All right. Tell us, Pam. When she says balance,
From the knee down, I kept both sides from the center the same size.
so from the center here,
Knee
she
down,
kept it the same size, going each way.
center the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's not as important. I'm just trying. So she took a little bit out of both sides and kept this centered. And that's what she should have done. So that is fine, but it wouldn't be out of balance. because you did it to all of it. Balancing the side seam should be identical. And the inseam should be identical. And that's balanced. And as long as your side seam goes straight down the center of your side and hangs straight, that's what you're going for. So you've got it. But everybody's body is so unique. And when it comes to trying to cover the body in the derriere and stomach area, we've got a three-dimensional puzzle that just won't quit. And it could drive a person cuckoo, especially with some of those pant fitting systems that people have come up with. And I don't mean to disparage them because it worked for them. And it reminds me of, if you ever saw Tommy, the opera, what worked for one guy doesn't necessarily work for the next one. And that's kind of what happens. They come up with a little hack and they say, hey, this works. And then you try it and it didn't work. Well, you have a different shaped body than they do. And so getting that sloper is the way to go. That's the way to go, especially with pants, because then you'll get that, because you've got so much with this crotch seam that has to meet up with this inseam, and you got a tummy, and maybe you have a derriere, or like me, you don't have any. I'm flat, completely flat now in the back. Um, so I've got to adjust my pattern to take that fullness out, or I have a big bubble in the back of my pant. The truth is, almost all of us should be doing some type of pattern work. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, we didn't have to because everything was oversized. So it didn't matter if it was an inch oversized or 2 inches oversized, as long as was oversized. But now we're working with a much more fitted wardrobe. And especially when it comes to shirts, you want to get a good fit. You want it to hang right. You want it to be comfortable. So again, we've got videos on YouTube that show you how to get started with getting a woven bodice fitted, and also a more comprehensive on the knit bodice, but they're both the same concept. And once you get that down and get it in ink and get it on a tag board or a really good pattern paper and set aside, then you're going to be sewing up a storm, because you're going to know everything's going to fit. So many times, if maybe you have a forward shoulder adjustment or a bust line adjustment, maybe you're really hollow in here, and you've made that adjustment and it worked on patterns A, B, and C, but now you got pattern D and it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, their proportions were different. Everybody works with different proportions. This is something you may have seen me talk about. I fell off the board, so I guess we need to talk about it. But you can see that these two people were the same size pattern, but you can see the difference in their proportions is slightly different, especially from here to here. Look at these two. They were the same size pattern. Look at the difference from her waist to her hip, her waist to her hip. What a big, could they wear the same pant? No, but they wear the same size. But it's all about proportion in your shirts as well as your pants. So that's the problem with trying to use just a basic standard pattern adjustment, because you don't know where the pattern started. Did it have 5 inches of ease? Did it have 8 inches of ease? Um, was it drafted properly, and is it going to fit me right anyway? So all of those things can be straightened out by using a sloper. And again, with or without a commercial pattern. All right, so let's talk about our challenge. We had a couple of them last year, and we thought it'd be fun to just go the full Megillah. Last year's we did stripe, and we did a camp shirt conversion. This year we want you to take any Islander shirt pattern, and we have several, men's and women's, and make a design change. That change is up to you. You can make more than one. So let's say that Aaron used this one. This would be a different, this also would be making a change up here, turning it into a facing instead of two plackets. Okay, you will, when let's see. When you decide you want to enter, and you come to the site and you go to purchase your supplies, you put in the comment box that you're planning on entering, you intend to enter the 2025 shirt challenge, and we will send you a 1 yard package of our most popular interfacing, light and stable. Anyone who enters, we're going to ask you when you're finished to send us a picture by March 24th. So you got lots of time. You could, experiment, make one or two or more, but you've got lots of time till March 24th. We want pictures. We like more than one picture. We like them to be good quality. In other words, if you're not a regular photographer, maybe get some help, but we need it to be a good above 72 DPI. A lot of people will take 72 DPI, but when you do that, we can't enlarge it. We can't put it online for people to see. And our goal is to create a slideshow inspiring other sewers and showing them what we've all done. And we're going to promote it online on Facebook as well as YouTube. So we're going to ask you to send in your pictures, front and back, hopefully more if you like. Good lighting. And what else do we want? There was something else. We want the pictures, yes. By the 24th. Oh, an explanation. So tell us what your changes were. What pattern did you start with? And what were the changes? And if you like, tell us what your inspiration was. Garment you saw at the mall, something you saw at a red carpet, something in a sitcom. Doesn't matter. Just give us an idea of what inspired you and how you got to where you're at. Okay, and then we're going to announce the winners on April 1st. No joke, April 1st. And all those who enter and send in the pictures by the 24th with their explanation will get a $25 gift of store credit. We will also pick one that we feel is the most successful. And that one will get a $100 gift certificate for Islander Sewing. We'll feature these pictures again on, we'll put it in a reel on Facebook, and we'll also put it in a short video on YouTube. So it'll be out there for the world to see and give you a chance to inspire other sewers to do what you did. And that is get outside your comfort zone, try something new. If you're really scared, just try something really simple. And once you've done that, maybe you'll take a greater leap next time. All right, just a quick, uh, some of my favorite shirtings I have here on the table. This one I think is destined for my future. Now, one of the things to note about shirting, and if you're new to shirt making, never, ever, unless you can't help it, use quilter's cotton to make a shirt. Quilter's cotton is stiff. It's a heavy yarn. It's stiff. You make short sleeves and they'll stick straight out instead of falling down here. They go out here. The shirt does the same thing. It's not appropriate for a shirt. Use true shirting. Now, I'm going to qualify that because you go into a box store and they'll have on the tag that it's shirting, but it'll also say 50% polyester. That's not shirting. Shirting should be all natural fibers. It can be a blend, but it should be like 100% cotton because it breathes so nice. It takes the needle so nice. It loves the interfacing. It presses well. And true shirting is woven design, not printed. So you will see that the wrong side isn't the wrong side because there is no wrong side in most shirting. Every once in a while, if it's a complex design, it might be slightly different on the wrong side. So that is what makes such a beautiful shirt. Now, if your shirt comes open, you only button it up, you don't see that ugly wrong side of the fabric because there is no wrong side. Good shirting doesn't even shrink. The stuff that we purchase from the same sources that Brooks Brothers purchases from. They don't pre-shrink their shirts. If you buy a shirt from Brooks Brothers, you know it's not going to shrink. And it isn't because they pre-shrunk the fabrics, because they bought quality fabric that will not shrink. It's just that simple. So, anyways, I think this one is a beautiful stripe and a great fun spring. All right, here is a now this one, no, same on both sides. This is a beautiful shirting. Again, these are all going to be cotton. And another great thing, and you have to look close to see how beautiful these simple stripes are, but they are literally woven stripes. Now, what you can do is when you go to put your pattern piece on the fabric, you just line up that straight of grain. And another good reason to have it the full length of the pattern, right on, let's say, that red stripe. I don't have to measure to the side of the fabric. I don't have to worry, is the salvage straight? Is this truly straight? No. This will be perfectly straight because it is woven into the fabric. So it can't be anything but straight. This one is a nice one. And again, very subtle. And I'm not sure you can see it, but there's almost like a crosshatch plaid look to it, but it's all monochromatic. But this is what makes really, really special shirting. And then this is one I'm hoping you'll be able to get a good shot of this, Brenda, because I cannot get it on the website to come up well. It doesn't look anywhere near as pretty as it is, but it is beautiful. The weave on this is, and there is a light gray, and I think a metallic, tiny, tiny little metallic in there. Not that you'd see it from any distance, you'd have to get really close, but that's what makes this so beautiful. Do you think you can see it pretty good? Yeah, I can move it around a little bit. Does that help? Mm-hmm. So you can see. And then we have, of course, several others, some beautiful plaids and the solid white. And you can never go wrong with a classic white shirt. You put a classic white, well pressed shirt on, and you could throw it on with a pair of jeans and still look dressed up. So that's a really good choice as well. So again, the good thing about stripes, and you're not matching anything. People say, "Oh, I don't want to have to do all that matching." You don't do any matching with vertical stripes. There's nothing to match because at the shoulder seam you're going to sew a yoke on, and the yoke in the back, the stripes go horizontally, so you're not matching it there. You don't need to match stripes on the side seams. That would be okay if you wanted to, but it's not necessary because you won't ever see it. So there really is no place you have to match other than maybe the pocket. And we've got great tutorials on YouTube on how to cut and match your pocket so that it matches perfectly.
Okay, can you tell us the deadline again?
The deadline is March 24th. March 24th.
And do they have to purchase the fabric from us?
You do not have to purchase the fabric from us, but you have to use an Islander pattern. And of course, we would prefer you got the fabric from us. But if you've already got, maybe, several people bought kits recently, maybe you've already purchased. Just let us know the next time that you purchase something that you're entering the challenge, because we'll need that to send you the interfacing. Otherwise, just, go for it. But yeah, we want it to be an Islander shirt pattern, of course. And we really love it to be our fabric, but we know that sometimes, I have the same issue. I go into a store and they don't have exactly what I wanted. So if we don't have something that works for you and you have something in your stash, well, then yes, please use it. Use up your stash. Come back. You can buy some fabric another time from us. But again, we carry this really high quality shirting that will last. It's worth putting your effort into. This is going to be, like I said, you get done, you're going to have a $200 shirt. You're not going to have a $47.50 shirt or a $29.95 shirt. You're going to have one beautiful shirt because you're going to use the shirting interfacing that we supply, which is the light and stable as well as the medium firm. And you're going to use our techniques. And our shirt making techniques are superior to just about anything other than robots. And I know we're not going to get any robots because we have too much fun sewing. We don't want a robot to do it. I don't anyway. So, anything else you'd like to see or ask about before we call it a day?
And Joni is thanking you for all the YouTube videos.
Oh, Joni says thank you for all the YouTube videos. You're welcome, Joni. We're really excited to have them on there. Sometimes I can't always put my finger on exactly which one to send you to for certain things, but um, they're pretty well organized on there.
Oh, somebody wants to see the first.
This one?
Yes. Mm,
You want to know how far apart these stripes are? I can tell you.
Linda Meyer.
What you'll find when you go into the fabrics on our website is that we usually will put something so you can identify the width. I either use a ruler or I use a crayon. The crayon or crayon is we try to get as close to the color of the fabric so that you can identify the true color. Because, one person's Caribbean blue is somebody else's Honolulu blue. So we don't want to go by names of colors as much as actual colors. So you'll see the crayons, and we bought the 96, I think, pack of Crayola crayons to use. And so we'll find the one that's the closest. So, anyways, this is over an inch. This is an inch and a half apart, these stripes.
Do we have any black?
Do we have any solid black? No. You know what? We had that chambray, but we sold out of that,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And we do have solid white, somebody's asking.
Yeah, we do have solid white. It's a beautiful, beautiful premium shirting. That one, excellent. Um, but of course, all of these are, but that premium is really could be very dressy. And when you buy a kit, you get the interfacing, the pattern, the buttons, and the fabric. So that's another thing. If you don't have something already together, you may want to consider one of our shirt kits. And um, all of our kits are 20% less than retail. So we take everything that we put in the kit, we add up our retail price, and then we subtract 20% from that. So not only do you get everything you need, you get it at a nice discount on top of it. So if you're considering buying fabric and a pattern, uh, go get the kit because it'll probably be the same price and you get all the extras. All right. Okay, I think that is gonna do it for today. Just remember, if you're going to be fitting a princess seam, that this seam goes right over the apex. So many times it's gonna fall to one side or the other, depending on your bust line. So make sure you get that in the right place. And if you have any questions as you're moving along with your sloper making or your shirt making, I am here. I'm your mentor. My name is Janet Prey, and I've been making shirts for a very long time, over 40 years. I'm getting close to 50 because I've been married 44, and I started making men's shirts when I got married. And my husband stood over top of me the first shirt I made. Every time I turned around, I'd feel somebody breathing on the back of my neck. He was so excited, and he really got my got me going because he liked it so much. Then I wanted to make more, and I learned a lot about shirt making because of that. So anyway, I'm glad I'm here to help you with fitting or construction. There are several shirt making videos on YouTube. I know that we did the Islander shirt, which is our short sleeve shirt with no placket. And then we did the Easy shirt, which could have a collar. I don't know if we did it with the collar or the hood. That one has the option of a collar or a hood. But we did that shirt for Brenda, the Everybody's. That's a beautiful shirt. And that is out of the Everybody's pattern. And that will give you a lot of good construction information as well. So any of those could be helpful as you're stitching up your shirt.
Linda Meyer is asking, can she get the kit without the pattern? She already has it.
Well, we don't have a price for the kit without the pattern, but Linda, if you tell us what kit you want and then a substitute pattern. So let's say that it's the Easy V or it's a cape pattern. Doesn't have anything to do with shirting, but you say, I want this shirt kit with this fabric, but please substitute a different pattern and just put that in the comments and we'll do that. But I don't have it priced that way in order to take that out.
And Teresa would like to know if the tone-on-tone white striped fabric is a bright white.
I would say yes. What would you say, Brenda? Because look, this looks for all the world white shirt to me, but if I put this next to it, you can see how much brighter of a white that is. But it is striped and there is a subtle gray in here. So it isn't screaming white, but it by and large, it's a bright white. Good question. It's so hard. I almost didn't get this one because I knew I wouldn't be able to show it to you. If you came in, if I had a store and you came in the store, I'd probably sell out of it the first week because I like it so much. I've shown it to everybody. But I can't do that with the camera. It just doesn't come out as well. Okay, well, I hope that you have got some great plans for your sewing for 2025 and hope that they might include our shirt challenge because you always inspire us and you inspire others. And I think that's what's so much fun and a way to share your love of sewing is you do it and say, look, I was scared, but Janet gave me the confidence and I changed that collar and I'm going to town now. I'm going to go try other things because I feel so empowered. And when you do that, you send somebody else down that same trail. And that's really rewarding. And it's a lot of fun and you get a great new shirt out of it on top of it. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back on the first Tuesday of February, but you'll be getting the email. We'll keep you up to date with anything that has to do with the challenge. And again, we're here for you if you have any questions along the way. We want you to be successful. That's our goal. That's why we're here. We want to teach you how much fun it is to sew without pins or basting. Oh, did I mention that? We don't use pins or basting, and we make beautiful, beautiful shirts that rival any ready to wear, fine ready to wear that you see. And you can too. Just follow along and look at some of those YouTube videos you'll see. Thank you again for joining us. Try to stay warm. It's pretty cold here in Michigan this week. So I hope where you're at is warmer than that. And happy sewing. We'll see you soon.
Oh, I just ended it.